the fact that this has 13,000 viewers is shocking. Okay. You might say, oh, Cory Booker got 100,000. Who cares? Like, but the very fact that this has more than 10 viewers is unironically yet another instance where I don't have a lot of faith in the Democratic Party's base of support.
We want to turn now to more news.
Speaking of old school cartoonishly evil sleazeballs, here's an old school cartoonishly incompetent geriatric man, Joseph Robinette Brandon. You might have forgotten about him. You might have thought he was. It seems he is back. He is back. Biden prepares for first post-presidency speech.
This afternoon, President Biden set to make one of his first public appearances since leaving office. He's scheduled to deliver remarks on Social Security in Chicago. This comes as Democrats warn the Trump administration is making cuts at the agency that provides those benefits. The president has repeatedly said he won't touch Social Security benefits. So we want to bring in ABC News political director Avery Harper with all of this. And Avery, this is an interesting first event back for President Biden. Why choose this event, and what do we expect him to say?
All right, well, this is going to be at a conference that is for an advocacy group that is about strengthening and protecting Social Security. We know that for Democrats, that has been a strong part of their messaging, the concerns that they've.
I really hope he says he's running. He's going to run again because his job in Israel is not done. This Trump guy, he didn't do enough Israel, and he didn't do NATO. Look alive. Watch me. I am alive. And I'll be back. I'm back again. Gonna protect Israel. Gonna protect Ukraine. I'll show that thug Vladimir Putin what's what. I'll do NATO. I'll do NATO 10 times over. I'll make Ryan Ruth's legacy a long-lasting one. I have it on good authority. I got 1,000 NATO-trained Afghan troops ready to go in my command. Took him over from my favorite supporter, Ryan Ruth. I guess both Trump and Biden have called the president of Ukraine a dictator for different reasons. Trump because he loves Vladimir Putin, and Biden because his brain was melting and he was like, President of Ukraine, Vladimir Putin.
Raised about what the Trump administration could do to Social Security, especially some of those concerns that there are about DOGE cuts, things like the possibility of office closures, changes to how people have to verify themselves in order to receive their Social Security benefits. Those are concerns that folks say could impact how people receive those benefits. And so we expect to hear President Biden and former President Biden speak to that tonight. Also interested to hear what more he might say about this current administration. We know that President Trump has said a lot about former President Biden and his administration and about the what it meant for the current state of this country. So interested to see what he will have to say about this current administration.
Avery, you and I talked on the air yesterday about those events we've seen from Bernie Sanders and AOC and these events.
I did the NATOization of Finland. Man, I miss doing the Brandon voice, chat. Have y'all noticed? I really miss doing Brandon voice. It's been so long. I'll do 9/11, Jack. I'll do 9/11 9 times over. Yeah, it's like Grandpa. He's gonna tell us how he did AUKUS, dude. I can't wait for him to talk about Five Eyes. Watch me.
Events to combat what they say are, quote unquote, fighting oligarchy. They are much younger. They are fiery kinds of events. You see some images there. Does that stand in contrast to what we expect to see from Biden today?
Hopefully his defense of Social Security is as passionate as his defense of the state of Israel. Nothing will be as passionate as his defense of Israel. I'm telling, dude, Trump likes Israel because Sheldon and Miriam Adelson give him money. It's that simple. Okay, if there was an equivalent to Sheldon and Miriam Adelson that had that level of motion, that level of power, and was like, you are going to dismantle the Zionist entity piece by piece, sure, he wouldn't be able to go up against all of the institutional power that Israel has and the State Department interest, but he certainly wouldn't be this aggressively in favor of Israel. Okay, Biden is a die-in-the-wool, straightforward ultra-Zionist, which is extra crazy because he's fucking Catholic, which means he, out of all the Christians, is the least likely to be Zionist. It makes no fucking sense. I will never understand the amount of support that Biden has in his heart for Israel. Not true? Dude, come on. In comparison, Catholics, an Irish Catholic in comparison to the average American evangelical, the average American evangelical outflanks Jews in Israel about what Israel should be doing. Mike Huckabee is more radical in support of Israel than the average median Israeli Jewish voter in Israel. This isn't to say that the average median Jewish voter in Israel is not Hitlerian in their policies. It's just that's how fucking insane Mike Huckabee is. In comparison to other Christian sects, like Catholics are not supposed to be this diehard for Israel at all. The Pope literally called it a fucking genocide. What are we talking about? He's Irish Catholic too, on top of everything else. It makes no goddamn sense. His faith and loyalty in Israel is insane, okay? It's real.
Today, and what does it say to you about the different elements in the Democratic?
Well, listen, I mean, Bernie Sanders is just about the same age as President Biden, but we do see him and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez bringing out progressives across the country as they make that their stops.
I like that they're basically saying, like, yeah, he's just stealing Bernie's shtick.
On that tour. The last stop was in Idaho, and where they brought out thousands of people to come and listen to their speech there. And it's important to note that that is a state where Trump won by more than 30 points. And so there are people who are coming out to hear these messages. I think the big question is if this could be a sustained movement. You know, a one-day event is very different than, you know, keeping people encouraged and encouraging them to come out to vote next year in midterms and beyond. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Avery Harper, my friend, thank you as always.
Now to President Trump's tariffs. The administration taking steps to implement new tariffs on semiconductors and pharmaceuticals. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, is at the White House with the details for us. Good morning, Rachel.
Michael, good morning. And the White House is laying the groundwork for the president to invoke national security to impose new tariffs on semiconductors and on pharmaceuticals. This could have a big impact on Americans across the country. Semiconductors, traditionally made outside of the United States, are used to power everything from cars to smartphones. And on pharmaceuticals, the raw ingredients used to make most medicines are also made overseas. Experts warn that could drive up the prices on over-the-counter drugs like ibuprofen. But the president is insisting that all of that needs to be made here in the United States. And some tech companies, including NVIDIA overnight, have responded to his demand for manufacturing here in the United States. But it will take time for those productions to get up. The White House, the Trump administration, continuing these negotiations on trade with other countries. The vice president says there is a good chance that the U.S. will reach a trade agreement with the U.K., but not at the negotiating table is China. Those 145% tariffs on Chinese imports are still in place, Michael.
And Rachel, it's a new day and it's a new lawsuit for President Trump over the tariffs.
Exactly, Michael. Now, this time it is a group of small businesses that are suing the Trump administration over these tariffs, saying the president does not have the power to impose them, calling his reasoning that this is a national emergency, a quote, figment of his imagination. Now, the White House is pushing back, insisting that.
Folks, you know, it's no surprise that he did a hell of a job when I asked him to be commissioner of the Social Security. And the reason I did that is not an ordinary transition for a governor.
Bro, he looks so down.
I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I knew he needed someone with some guts, some toughness, who'd fight for every single penny that it needed, that would try to restore the integrity of the system. And to everyone here today, I want to thank you, all of you, very much for this award. It means a great deal to me coming from you. And I mean that sincerely. It means a great deal. You're in the front lines every single day. You're helping, you're advocating for your fellow Americans, Americans with disability. It's a big deal. We talk about what happened to the physical side of it if we didn't have Social Security. Think of what the psychic calm it gives so many people who just don't know where to go, don't know how to traverse what needs to be done, or alone. Last fall, on the White House lawn, we celebrate the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. As a United States Senator 400 years ago, I was looking back on it. God almighty, I've been doing this 50 years. It's hell turning 40 years old anyway. But back in the year 1990, I was the co-sponsor of the Americans with Disabilities Act as a United States Senator. In my view, and I suspect many of you, it was one of the most consequential civil rights laws in American history. That's what got me involved in politics in the first place. Delaware, like Maryland, was one of those states, it was a slave state. We had all the vestiges of what was going on back in the day. We were one of those states that still, I remember moving from Scranton, Pennsylvania down to Wilmington, Delaware, and Cole died. My dad moved back to where we could get a job. And I remember I pulled into, my mom would drive us on the Filton in Philadelphia, and we lived in an apartment complex. And she'd drive us it was only about half a mile to Holy Rosary School in Claymont. But it was so dangerous, she wouldn't let us walk up because of access road. And I remember pulling into the parking lot.
Dude, this is crazy.
I'd never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time when I was only going to fourth grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by. They never turned right to go to Claymont High School. I wondered why. Asked my mom, why? So in Delaware, they're not allowed to go to school, in public school, with white kids, honey. That sparked my sense of outrage as a kid, just like it does. I mean, and these young kids right here can tell you things affect them when they learn about something that's really just unfair and unjust. You know, my dad was an honorable man. And my dad used to have an expression. He said, Joey, your job's about a lot more.
How is he not dead yet? I don't understand. I really thought he would have been dead by now.
It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, that's what you're all about. That's what the legislation's about. It's about dignity. Simple dignity. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, regardless of their standing, regardless of their economic situation, regardless of who they are. Making sure that more than 60 million Americans who are living with disabilities are treated with dignity is who we are as Americans. That's what it's about. I mean it. Dignity at work, at school, in their communities, in every corner of American life. Laws like the ADA need advocates like you. You're the ones that keep it going, God love you. You fight like hell every single day to make sure the law is respected and your clients' rights are protected. So from the bottom of my heart, I mean this. I give you my word as a Biden. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your commitment to the dignity of all Americans, because that's what ultimately this is about. Folks, today I want to talk to you about an issue that's front and center right now for millions of Americans. Social Security. You know, some of you may know the Democrats have declared today the Save Social Security National Action Day. National Day of Action, I should say. We know just how much Social Security matters to people's lives. Everyone in this room fights for people with disabilities who rely on Social Security to survive. To survive. Not just the physical side, it's the mental side. It's the mental side. You make sure folks get the benefits they earn after a lifetime of hard work. The work they do is more than just a profession, what you do. It's a calling. It's not just a profession. And Social Security is more than a government program. It's a sacred promise. We made it today, a sacred promise. 73 million Americans receive Social Security. From their first paycheck for their entire life, they pay into Social Security. And in return, they count on Social Security to be for them when they're going to need it. Folks, must never, ever betray that trust or turn our backs on that obligation. That's why during my presidency, we protected Social Security and made it stronger.
His audio dial is busted. He just keeps yelling randomly or whispering, so it's impossible to fucking regulate the audio.
Lowest staffing, she referenced it. lowest staffing levels in 50 years. And demand was going through the roof because of my generation and the baby boom generation reaching the retirement age. So the demands on Social Security increased significantly. Our administration secured nearly $2 billion to reduce the backlogs and improve customer service. We slashed wait times for folks in need who are calling the 1-800 number. We got it down to under 13 minutes. It used to be 3 times that long when we took office. We made it easier for people to get help with their claims online. We reduced how long it takes to review a case. We fixed the appeal system to make it uniform in all 50 states, which made a difference. We strengthened the anti-fraud measures to protect people's identities and to make sure benefits are going to people who actually they belong to. By the way, those 300-year-old people getting that Social Security, I want to meet them because I like to figure out how they live out. Hell of a thing, man. I'm looking for longevity because it's hell when you turn 40 years old. But as a result, by the time we left office, we had improved every single line of customer service, from applying for disability to filing an appeal to reporting fraud. It all became more efficient and more effective. And I'll bet it made your jobs easier, too, in the process. Now, these achievements may not sound so glamorous to most people, but you know, they're absolutely essential. In my view, one of the most important jobs of any elected official is to make sure the government works for the people, works for all people. It's understandable. They can understand what it is. Then we keep our promises to the people, to all the people. That's exactly what we did, thanks to all of you. I also signed into law the Social Security Fairness Act.
What's the point of the speech? Literally nothing. It's an exercise in masturbation, and predictably, liberals are actually masturbating right now. The fact that this has 13,000 viewers is shocking. Okay? You might say, oh, Cory Booker got 100,000. Who cares? But the very fact that this has more than 10 viewers is unironically yet another instance where I don't have a lot of faith in the Democratic Party's base of support. There shouldn't be more than a single person watching this. To be fair, you have 36,000 viewers watching it right now. Yeah, and it fucking sucks.
5 years and then wait around and be... I will not go further or get in trouble, but look, folks. You can imagine the chaos it would have charged. Every 5 years, Congress is going to step up. You imagine this Congress stepping up? They threatened to raise the retirement age as well. Now, that might not be a hardship for someone working in a comfortable job, but if you're on your feet all day, you're doing manual labor all day, you're working with a disability, it's a very different matter. And then they even tried to force cuts on Social Security during the negotiation of the debt ceiling. These are wonderful guys. Last time this guy had the job, he raised the debt ceiling because of an enormous and profligate tax cut to the super wealthy. And then he said, look, then they started talking to his colleagues. Well, maybe we can do something about Social Security, but we got to do something about the debt ceiling. How are we going to we can find the money in Social Security? Unless we do what they wanted to cut Social Security. Not on my watch. We refuse to go along with any of that. Look, Americans have always been able to count on these benefits. And let me pause a second here and say this. We talk about the physical needs that Social Security provides for people, particularly hardworking people, people retired, people on the edge. But the psychological impact is profound. Profound. You're a man or a woman, you're 70s, 80 years old, you're not in good shape, you have a disability, and you hear the check may not come. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? We lived up in Wilmington in a 3-bedroom split-level home in a new development, 40 homes, with 4 kids and a grandpa living with us. And I remember our bed headboard was near my dad's and mom's room. And you could tell when Dad was restless. I remember asking one night my mom, "What's the matter with Dad?" The next morning, she just found out that we're not going to provide insurance anymore where he works. Well, imagine if you're somebody who's been struggling your whole life. You're literally counting on Social Security to buy your food, just to get by. And you hear the threats about what may happen. Many of these beneficiaries, that's their only income. If they were cut or taken away, it'd be devastating, devastating for millions of people. And the psychological pressure we put people under by having this debate is absolutely devastating.
Okay, I got to spice this up a little bit.
That's why we work so damn hard to make Social Security Administration stronger than it's been in years. And that's why I asked the governor to take over, by the way. But look what's happened now.
Where the fuck are my bookmarks? Oh, here.
Fewer than 100 days.
Chad, I got to spice this up.
This new administration has made
You'll never believe what happens in 019.
So much destruction.
Look at
It's
this.
breathtaking it could happen that soon. They've taken a hatchet to the Social
Watch
Security
what happens at 19, on the 19th second.
pushing
It's coming.
7,000 employees. 7,000 out the door in that time, including the most seasoned career officials. Now they're getting ready to push thousands more out the door. Already we can see the effects. For example, thousands of people use the Social Security website every single day to check on their benefits and submit their claims. But now, the technology division of Social Security Administration has been cut in half. And so the website's crashing. People can't sign on to their accounts. What do you think it does to that woman's
It's one of the
living alone?
stupidest things I've ever
At 74
seen,
years
dude.
checking, just not able to even find out whether she can't even find out what that disability claim is she has. She can't file a new disability claim.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
like the benefits have ended. Folks,
This
the panic
is so
that causes.
disrespectful to
If
Brandon.
you're a retiree living alone, with only Social Security to depend upon.
It didn't work on my friend's Pitbull. Just
now
a heads
people are
up.
Overwhelming the phone lines. They're showing up at the local Social Security office, tearful and frantic, and told, "Do you have an appointment?"
What the fuck? Why does he keep yelling randomly, dude?
Give you a personal example.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to lighten the
Cap
mood
it
a
all
little
off.
bit.
Serious people are now generally concerned for the first time in history.
They did that to
First and
Commander?
only
No, they
time in
didn't.
history.
Yeah, this
that
is.
Social Security benefits.
People
may
are
be
saying this
delayed
is
or interrupted.
Commander.
Folks, let's put this in perspective. In the 90 years since Franklin Roosevelt created the Social Security system, people have always gotten a Social Security check. They've gotten them during wartime,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
during recessions, during a
You
pandemic.
needed it. You needed that pick me
matter
up
what
after
they got.
Biden fucking put us to
Now,
sleep. Jesus
For the
Christ.
first time ever, that might change. It would be a calamity for millions of families, millions of people. But the current Secretary of Commerce doesn't seem to get it. Or based on his comments, he doesn't seem to even care. Many of you saw what he said the other day. And by the way, he's a billionaire. God love him, as my mom
Yeah,
would
he's
say.
this ACP behind him. He's a American
8.5%
Communist Party.
tax.
He's a
Yeah.
MAGA communist now.
Billionaires, I don't know what he's paying. But when he talked about the possibility of the Social Security checks not going out this month, he shrugged it off. Here's what he said. He said his 94-year-old mother-in-law wouldn't complain, wouldn't bother her. She's probably a lovely woman. No kidding.
Can you believe this
Her
guy was the
son-in-law's a
president,
billionaire.
dude?
What about that 94-year-old mother living all by herself? doesn't have a billionaire in the family. Or all the retirees who depend on that monthly check to feed themselves.
How is he still going?
Disabilities.
How is he still going?
What about all those people? That's who you fight for. So they so desperately need you. And folks, it's not just the Secretary of Commerce. We heard how others, empowered and emboldened by this administration of security. One of them called it a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme? What the hell are they talking about? People earn these benefits. They paid into that benefit. They rely on that benefit. And no one should take it away. You know, Franklin Roosevelt had a different view. He was president coming out of the Great Depression. He and all his colleagues saw great suffering, so much poverty. He also took steps to raise standard of living for ordinary Americans, including creating Social Security. He himself was from a very wealthy family.
Never forget that this man's unimaginable selfishness and also insane loyalty to the state of Israel caused both a genocide to continue and subsequently his love and loyalty for Israel's endless appetite for baby murder caused Donald Trump to become the president. Like, I will never forgive this demon. Okay? I will never forget, and I will never forgive this fucking asshole. This piece of shit is directly responsible for Donald Trump and the mandate that he seemingly got, okay, to erode the due process, to shred the First Amendment, to fucking engage in deportations for people who have hurt the feelings of Israel. All of that, his administration set up. This fucking asshole, I hope every single day that he is alive is more painful than the one prior.
Now.
If there was any sort of karmic justice, if there was any God, if there's any karmic justice, if there any sort of thing like that, if there was any sort of divine justice, this asshole would be feeling the pain. But of course, because he's fucking demented, he doesn't even get to understand what happened to his legacy. He probably in his mind still thinks he's fucking president.
My friend Governor O'Malley knows what they're really up to. He says, and I love his quote, they want to wreck it so they can rob it. They want to wreck it so they can rob it. And why do they want to rob it? In order to deliver huge tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations and keep it going. They want to make permanent the 2017 tax cuts, which overwhelmingly benefited the wealthiest Americans and the biggest corporations. That's going to cost $5 trillion. Where are they going to get $5 trillion to pay for it, other than continue to run the deficit up? Well, what do they always do? By running up the national debt, number one, and then by taking the money from someplace else. What are the two big pots of money out there in raw numbers? Social Security and Medicaid. Well, from other programs that people rely on and have paid into. Republicans, these guys are willing to hurt the middle class and the working class in order to deliver significant greater wealth to the already very wealthy. Who in the hell do they think they are? I really I mean, just basic decency. Who do they think they are? I think anybody should go out. They can make $1 billion a year. They can, fine. Pay your fair share. You know what the average, we have 1,000 billionaires in America. You know the average federal tax they pay?
I'm going to talk about 4chan after this.
8.2%. Anybody want to trade that number? What you're paying?
Is he missing a tooth? I don't know. It looks like it. I saw that too on the left side of his mouth, right?
So long, but it's just, anyway. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania as a kid.
All right, I'm done. Fuck this.